to the Everything After podcast. I'm Rob, and I'm here with special guests Rick and Rudy of the band Woolworthy. And we may have Dave joining us here shortly if we can get resolved some technical issues. Woolworthy is an indie power pop punk band out of Chicago that this summer is dropping a new 4-track EP, Fall With You, which follows a 2023 comeback album, Electric Heartbreak, that marks your first in 20 plus years. Is that right?
18 years.
That's correct.
Yeah. 18 years.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So you guys got together as a band, 94, 95. You got 5 full-length LPs, starting with your 97 self-titled album. I'm so excited to have you guys on the podcast. Your music really is right in my wheelhouse. In that early to mid 1990s was right around the time I was really discovering and developing my own musical taste. I'm a little perpetually locked into the 90s in terms of music and really maturity. And your music and style is heavily influenced by bands like The Replacements, Goo Goo Dolls, Soul Asylum, Green Day, bands I really cut my teeth with and still have great love for. And this podcast in particular is really all about comebacks and discovering and rediscovering our creative passions after going through sort of the collective shit of the past several years, or just after doing something else for a while and now recommitting or resurging. I've kind of described it not as a midlife crisis, but as a midlife rising. And I'd just love to hear the story of how you guys formed as a band. And spoilers, I saw a post on Instagram about the newspaper wanted ad that Rudy placed in 94. And I absolutely love that. I was a little tempted to call that 312 number and see what happens. Perhaps there's a time loop that would connect me to 1994 Rudy.
In the Matrix, I'm still there. Yeah.
I was thinking more like I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a 2012 movie called Safety Not Guaranteed about a guy that placed a want ad for someone to time travel with him. It had Mark Duplass and Aubrey.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Johnson in it.
Yeah,
Fantastic
right.
movie. So I was thinking of that when I saw that classified ad, and I just how cool would that be?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But you know what's funny? At the time, everyone was putting ads out. I think Rick had an ad out. I had an ad out, and we finally just decided to call the same ad. But that's how things were done back then.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's a really I mean, that's kind of dating all of us, but I remember that as well. Not really a thing anymore. Yeah. What would you do today? What's the equivalent of placing a want ad to start a band?
Yeah,
putting something on like Facebook Marketplace.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So
I'm a fan of cherry picking. Just going to see a band and go, I like that drummer. I'm going to go ask that drummer to join my band. You know, that would be the best way to do it.
You just resort to pure stealing from other bands, just going to their shows and just.
He made it.
Hey, Dave.
Oh my God. What's up?
Nice appearance, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like virtual world too.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us, Dave. Glad we were just talking about your sort of origin story, starting with that 94 one ad that Rudy put in the newspaper. And you were going to tell me a little bit about that and starting out.
Yeah. So I think
Rudy, you want to take that?
We had the ad, and then Rick called it, of course. And then I went to Rick's place. He was living in Wrigleyville, and he had another guitar player there. I remember. And I walked in with my guitar. We just started playing right in his kitchen and playing some songs that I had written. And he liked it. I liked him right away. I actually liked the other guitar player right away, as well as people. And then we took it from there. I don't remember what happened next, Rico, but maybe you could fill in. I think we started. The three of us just kept working on the songs.
Yeah, I think that original guy that I was jamming with, I think he went back to school in Champaign or something. And then I don't even know how did Steve answer an ad in the reader as well?
Yeah, that's it, Rob. So then we put another ad in the paper
for a lead guitar player. Yeah,
for a lead guitar player and a drummer, and then little by little we started weeding out. There was a really cool space in Chicago where you could just show up and rent the room, and it had all the gear already there, full drum kit, all the amps there. You just had to bring the people and your guitars, and so that's where we would go to audition guys, so we didn't have to so we could weed it out pretty quickly. You know, things moved pretty quickly once we got Rick and I were together.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
So once we got that initial lineup, we did like a 4-track demo, as you do in 1995. Did a 4-track demo, and just started like sending that around to local clubs. Started getting into like the Chicago scene. We're playing shows. Dave, he had another band called Emil Muzz, and we met Dave through that band, playing gigs with them. And then eventually, when we needed a guitar player, we ended up cherry picking him. So
what's funny is I heard of you guys through Trent Anderson from Muchacha, who is everyone's like, there was a punk band in Chicago called Muchacha, and actually Alex played on the last record a little bit too. But yeah, Trent was like one of those first guys you meet in the city. Just always out. He's like, oh, there's a band called Woolworthy I think you guys might like. So I think I saw you guys.
Impersonation.
I think I saw you guys at Lounge Acts with Steve in the band, and I really liked it. I thought it was like really good band, and Lounge Acts was kind of the place to be back then. I think I told this story that Mark, our drummer now, Doyle, I remember running into him at Lounge Acts too. I still tell him that story. I'm like, man, the drummer from Loud Lucy is here. This gotta be the
This must be a cool joint. Yeah.
But no. In all seriousness, though, the guitar playing, there were a few guitar players in the band. I don't know why Steve didn't end up it. Then Dave Leisen was in the band for a little bit. But I remember specifically, it was like 1997, 98. I ran into Rudy on the street in front of like Neo.
Yeah, right by Tower Records.
Yeah,
I was coming from Tower Records.
We just happened to cross paths, and I remember saying like, oh, are you guys looking for a guitar player? And you're like, yeah, come jam with us. And that was kind of it, But it was just a random run in on the street too. So
yeah, that was pretty fun.
But we did play shows together, so we all did know each other.
Yeah. Emil Muzz and Woolworthy actually eventually played some shows together. I think Thurston's maybe a couple times, and maybe even Elbow Room. Yeah,
it was like Starball, Woolworthy, Emil Muzz, some of those bands.
Mm-hmm.
I should a lot of name dropping, Rob.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I dropped a little bit too in my intro. Of course, some of the larger acts that you count as influencers, bands like Green Day. I think it's kind of interesting too. Really, I think you got a little bit of a resemblance to Billy Joe Armstrong. I wonder if you've ever thought about dyeing your hair platinum blonde and just going full green.
No, but I would love to meet him and tell him that we're twinsies.
Yeah, but do you want to talk a little bit about that, about the sound, like what influenced your sound in those early days? And you still sound like you did in the 90s to me. Like I kind of dived into your discography this morning and afternoon, and I tell you guys haven't missed a beat since 94.
Thank you. Well, I think a lot of what our sound is about is because it's us playing it.
Yeah.
Like it takes, you have a nucleus of a song, but once you put everybody's layer on, of their part on, their melody part on, it sounds like us, and that's why that record, Electric Heartbreak, sounds like it could have been out in 2006, the year after we broke up. So I guess we start with the song. The song's the most important thing. We start with a good song, and then we play it together as a band, and then Dave comes up with parts for it, and Rick comes up with parts for it, and Doyle comes up with parts for it, and then the more you play it, it sounds more and more like Woolworthy and not what it originally started out to be.
Well, I think also the fact that we played together and known each other for such a long time, we kind of get the little nuances that I think if you brought in some other guy, might have trouble just getting that kind of, we just vibe off each other. So, but really a lot of it has to do with the friendship. I think that the friendship is kind of like what shines through, I think, in all of it, because we're all such close friends. I mean, we always had the most fun, like off the, beside the music, you know what I'm saying? Like the four of us always had a good time. So.
That's so true. I mean, Woolworthy is a brotherhood, and we have fun. That's why we decided to keep doing it,
Yeah.
If it can't have a good time, why do it, right?
Right.
If you're talking about like original influences, like back to that ad in the Chicago Reader, I think Rudy and I originally bonded over like kind of like 90s college rock type bands. Lemonheads, Replacements, Husker Du, Superchunk, Small 23. I mean, like all these kind of like 90s melodic kind of pop punkish bands. I mean, that was kind of the nucleus. Over the years, you know, we've developed other musical influences, and, you know, now it's kind of that, you know, brotherhood that you're talking about. Everybody just throws in, you know, their 2 cents, and that becomes a Woolworthy song. But I mean, originally, you know, it was that kind of that college rock, you know, early 90s sound.
Yeah, I'm going to read that one ad real quick because I just love it. I keep going back to that. Rhythm guitar vocals wants to form 4-piece or join loud, soulful, intense garage pop band affected by Soul Asylum, Replacements, Husker, Gut Rock. Love it.
Gut rock, yeah.
Yeah.
I still use that phrase, gut rock.
Gut rock.
But now people think I'm just talking about fat bellies, but I'm talking about the guts.
Yeah.
The guts of rock.
Yeah, putting the gut into it, that's for sure. So what happened in 2006, guys? You guys just decided to go off in different directions and join some different bands, or was it just time for a break? Or
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, that we'd already been a band for, you know, almost 10 years at that point. And yeah, I think it was just like, I know from my perspective, it was just like, let's try some different stuff.
Yeah, from my perspective, it was just things are going on. Everyone had, you know, getting more involved in other things besides music. But I never felt that the band would be apart forever. I always had in the back of my mind that one day we would pick it up again. And obviously you hear the new, you know, Electric Heartbreak. It's a good thing we did, because those are some of our best songs, I think.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
And so I don't think we were done yet. And now the EP, Fall With You EP, I think these songs are taking it up another level as well. But yeah, back in 2006, we all had other things we wanted to do.
I think everybody was just, you know, there were other projects and stuff. I mean, you were kind of forming another band too, like a soul band. I had joined a band out in LA in 2004, came back around 2006 and formed the Assembly. So I had my own band. So everyone was kind of just doing, you know, I was writing a lot of songs for one of my bands. And so everyone and then we would play shows together, the Assembly and midnight shows. So it was like, there was, you know, so the friendship was always there. We just, you know, for what, you know, everyone, you know, Rudy wanted to take a stab at writing more soulful type songs. And I was doing more kind of like my Brit poppy thing. And so everybody, you know, it was just writing different songs. So
what was the soul?
Yeah. And even prior to that, Dave, you had been doing Caviar. So we were like having to get fill-in guitar players. I had already joined Textbook at that time. So yeah, it was just like so much stuff going on at that time.
Well, yeah. And one of my favorite shows was my band, The Dead On, Textbook, and the Assembly, all on the same bill. I don't remember where that was at. I think it was at Township.
Sub T.
Sub T. And that was just, you know, all of our bands, different bands on the same bill, was such a good time.
Yeah,
you know?
That's awesome. When was that?
Well,
I think that was at the Township, maybe.
I think that was
it?
I know I have a poster for Township.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the infamous night where we tried to do a little reunion at the end.
All right, yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
You guys could tell that story better than me.
Well, I mean, I just remember we decided we were going to do a Woolworthy reunion and a show at Subterranean, but it was just going to be like after my band was playing, we were just going to bring the guys up and play. But it just so happened that Rudy and his girlfriend at the time broke up that night. So I believe he drank a lot, and then didn't you drop the guitar or something? Like, and then it was
Nathan's guitar.
Well, I forgot we were going to do the reunion, so I just started drinking heavily. And then someone's like, "Hey, you're supposed to go on stage next." And I was like, "Holy shit!" And when I got up there, Nathan handed me his guitar, and he tunes to drop D, which I don't tune to drop D.
He could have helped you out there by tuning it up to
standard. We played standard tuning, and so we started playing, and it was a nightmare. Rob, a nightmare. Let me tell you, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I forgot a bunch of the lyrics. I mean, You know what though? I was looking in the crowd. Everybody had big smiles on their faces. People were just loving it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because it was a combination of, oh, they're back together, and oh my God, this is a train wreck. But
I don't know if you noticed.
people loved it.
I turned your guitar off with your tuner pedal. I don't know if you noticed.
I didn't notice that.
Probably a good idea.
Smart move. That's a brotherhood right there.
There you go. There you go.
It didn't save me from not remembering all the lyrics either,
but that experience,
that was fun.
Was that part of the impetus for sort of inspiring the getting the band back together, so to speak, Blues Brothers style?
That wasn't what year was that, by the way? For that, was that like
that
2010 maybe?
I have no idea, actually.
No, it was earlier than that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Right, so that was a midnight show. So the midnight shows were from 2006 to 2008 or 9. That was my soul band, Rob, midnight shows. So it had to be within that window of 2006 to 2009 because it was the midnight shows was the band that opened up for Dave's band.
Okay.
Robert, are you asking if Redemption was the reason that we got back together?
Yeah.
If so, yes.
Yeah, we definitely need to fit. Well,
I mean,
you know,
I
don't know
believe
about
that performance is the last like memory that people have of the band, right?
Right.
You know what's funny? That night I lost my car keys. I lost my keys in my place. I misplaced my wallet and my keys. So when I left the show, I went home and I was locked out, and a friend of mine found my jacket that I left at the club and had my wallet and my keys in it. And that's how bad that show was for me. So redemption is a good word, Rick. I needed to redeem myself.
And I would fast forward to current, to 2024 or so, or 2023, or whenever the conception of the Electric Heartbreak record was. But you had just been writing a bunch of songs, and I think you were looking to put a band together to play these songs, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to call the Woolworthy guys, right? So
that's exactly right. It was like the pandemic came, and I was, had a lot of time on my hands during the lockdown, and I wrote like 20 songs, and I was going to do a solo record with these songs.
Yeah.
And so 2021 comes around, and I asked, hey, Dave, Rick, Doyle, you guys want to be on this record that I'm making and play some of these songs? And the more we played, we started noticing that, hey, a lot of these songs are Woolworthy songs. And
yeah.
So we took all the Woolworthy songs and put it over here, and took all the songs that weren't Woolworthy songs and put them in another pile. And next thing you know, Electric Heartbreak is happening, and I'm glad it did.
I think that's remarkable because we talk a lot about, the pandemic took a lot from a lot of people, but it gave us some stuff too, right? It gave us Electric Heartbreak. It gave us Woolworthy reunion. We talked about the band, the Cleellum. They formed in the midst of the pandemic. I had them on a previous interview, and you guys have a connection with them. I think we're going to have to, at some point, sort of assess that a little bit differently because it was obviously a dark time, for a lot of loss, but it also, from that, some new art has emerged and some opportunities to reconnect. I think that's a great story.
Yeah, people
had a lot of
create. People had time to create at that time.
Yeah.
So. Right. You could put your other life, your work life aside and focus on your creative endeavors. I was also gardening at that time, something I didn't do before, really that much before either. But and you should see my garden now. It's beautiful.
Is it all those marijuana plants behind you? Is
Yeah, right. That's legal now, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, I don't smoke. I don't smoke.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask any other significant just lost time from the 90s for you guys, just early 2000s. Is there a year that's just a complete blur for you?
Oh man, all of
some
it.
of those early, yeah. 98, 99, Y2K.
Well, we did tour in England in 2001. And I still remember all of that as if it wasn't very, we still remember everything that happened there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sleeping on people's floors, sleeping under. I know at one of the clubs, Rudy, you slept under a desk in the office.
I did, under a coffee table.
Rick and I slept in a hostel where people were like videotaping in the middle of the night. I remember that. So, I mean, there's a lot of like goofy stuff, where we didn't know where we were sleeping every night because it was, it was a cool tour. It was organized, but it was very punk rock. It was like, go with the flow type thing. So
yeah, so you guys got picked up by a UK label, right? It's Boss Tunage Records. You're still with them?
Yep.
Yes,
yep.
we still are with them.
Yeah, and so they planned your overseas tour then. Yeah,
they did back then. Yeah,
but that was a real experience.
Oh, we should definitely give a shout out to Boss Tunage because they've been nothing but great to us, and we love Aston, who's been such a good supporter of the band. But yeah, go on, Rick. I know you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just going to say, yeah, they've been like supporting us for all these years. Agreed to do the Electric Heartbreak record after almost 2 decades not doing the band. So yeah, definitely shout out to Aston and Boss Tunage for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit about the reception to this reunion. How your fans have been reacting. I know you said that there was quite a buzz around that sort of preemptive Woolworthy one night only reunion. What's it been like since then, here in the mid 2020s, as you guys have been getting back out there? You seeing those fans come back?
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah. Now they're bringing their kids. No, I'm just kidding.
A few.
Yeah.
Well, the kids aren't 21 yet.
Sneaking them in the clubs.
Yeah. But I mean, we play a lot of outdoor things where kids can come and stuff too. I mean, we play street fests and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, my brother brought kids. I mean, yeah, it's been fun. One of our friends came and she's like in high school and she's wearing a Woolworthy shirt and she's playing in School of Rock and she wears a Woolworthy shirt whenever she plays her shows. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that's happening now. It's like it's transcending generations now, which is fun.
Yeah, is that surreal to see that?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. My sisters are in the front row with their Woolworthy shirts on. It's been great to be back together, not only for the fun of it, but I think all of our fans are having a good time with it too. And I really feel like the songs are resonating with them. And now another generation of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say? I was going to say, especially the Chicago fans, I think it, kind of, there's a bit of nostalgia there where it kind of takes them back to that time in the 90s, which was kind of a cool, like magical time for the Chicago scene. Just a ton of bands and a ton of great bands, actually. So I think it kind of brings people back to that time a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think that they dig the new record and they stuck with us, but it definitely is. There's a bit of nostalgia there as well.
Yeah.
It's not only that though, also the fans from Europe that, because we toured Europe and we toured England and all these bands that are on Boss Tunage are sending me emails like, oh my God, I'm so glad you guys put out Electric Heartbreak. They're, every time we post something, we're getting thumbs up from them, so it's even affecting other Boss Tunage bands and fans that we have made across the pond,
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I was actually just instant messaging with a guy we met in France on the European tour in 2003. When did we go over?
2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did he say?
Oh, he's like no, he was no, it was Manu from France.
Oh, right. I love him. Yeah.
Great guy.
He played with his band in Lyon, I think.
Yeah, Special K. Yeah. He just was excited about the new EP. Was like excited to hear it. He's got a new band. We were going back and forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the people that come to the shows, you'll see a lot of the same people that came to the shows back in the early 2000s, late 90s. I mean, people go because they remember how fun we were back then, and we are as good live now or better than we used to be, right? I mean, there's a lot of power when you come to a Woolworthy show, Doyle doesn't hit softly. He does. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a loud rock experience. So, and I think people just want to have a good time, like they remember, being, young and in their 20s, when they'd come see us. And so when they come now, it's like, it is nostalgia because they're like, man, this was just such a good time. And this band was so fun. And, we still play, at least a handful of the classics that people love, and that's why we re-released Moped Song, because that was sort of a fan favorite. So that's on the new EP now is like a re-release of one of the original.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask why that was the one you picked to kind of give a 30th anniversary tour to on this new 4-track.
Yeah, that was kind of the standout track. I think that was always kind of the fan favorite, right, Dave? That's the one we'd always get requests for. Hey, you going to play Moped tonight? And we didn't play it for a long time.
Moped song, the Moped Song tells a story, and so people really like that idea because Rudy's like, hop on the back of my moped, come with me on this journey, and I think people just like resonate with that, Yeah. They really like the idea of, I guess it's a metaphor for jumping on hop on the back with the band, Yeah. And so, but it's also personal, right? So, but yeah, people just really like the lyrics. They like the song. I think the original version recorded was a little, like Rick would say, a little more lo-fi, kind of, just a different sounding type of song. The vibe is still there, but when we played it with this iteration of the band, with us and with me and Mark on it, it took a life of its own too, and we never really captured that in a recording. So now we finally did. This is exactly what we sound like live. I really feel like when you listen to the new Moped, it's like that's the version that everybody's used to hearing.
Yeah. Okay. You capture the sort of the. I was going to ask how it's different because I haven't actually heard because you've only released the one single off of this 4-track, right?
All of it's under lockdown with Rick. He owned.
Yeah.
He only releases.
You can't have it.
Fall with You, and I think Fall with You is a great song. I love Fall with You, guys. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys have been using.
No, it's
like you said.
It's on lockdown with Boss Dunage, not me.
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this 4-track. I think it's gonna be great.
I'm pretty sure Rick could send you the MP3s if you want to hear them.
Yeah, do that.
I think just to like tag on a little bit with Moped, I just think like, especially after we've been back together, that's like one song that like people that come to the shows always ask, are we going to play? So that kind of when we were recording some new songs, I brought it up that maybe it's a good idea to like reintroduce that song. And it turned out great. So excited about that.
So is this a teaser for the next full length LP, for the next LP? Are you doing are you rolling? Are you still recording songs now? You got others that you're getting ready to release?
Well, Rudy's always got songs. So that's that, there's no shortage of songs, but I just think we're just trying to go a little more into the modern age and release more songs more often. Yeah. And, as opposed to waiting longer and, releasing LPs, it just to keep people interested, keep us interested. I just think it's cool way to do it.
Yeah. I think that's cool. I was going to ask.
Yeah. When you record a record, it takes a long time, it just sort of does, I think. So I think doing it this way is like, okay, let's do these 4 songs and then we'll jump back in, do some more. So I don't think there's any idea about not recording more. It's just kind of like trying to get something out there more quickly. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think like even doing an LP, it's like, it takes a lot out of you, kind of mentally too. Just like living with all of these songs, especially like after they're recorded in the studio, going over mixes. It just like, it's a pretty arduous process, I'd say. And it's almost, in my opinion, a little nicer to like focus on smaller chunks of songs and like put more into it than doing all of these songs and you're just burnt by the end of it. I mean, that's just kind of my studio experience over the years, but I'm sure these guys have a different different take on that.
I agree with you, Rick. And I also think, like Rick said, we just wanted to get some stuff out there after such a cool record like Heartbreak. We had some great songs that we had new, and we're like, let's record, let's get them out there, and then we'll continue recording the rest of the year. Eventually, when we have all 12 songs recorded, then maybe we will put out a full-on LP, but we'll already have the songs out there, and people can enjoy them when we're done. So you don't have to wait for the LP.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I feel like just as a society in general, like we're not so into delayed gratification anymore. We want everything now. We want everything in these smaller bites.
And we want it in under 30 seconds, right? So
we do. Yeah, we've sort of lost our patience, collectively. But I was curious too. Like, it's a great transition because I wanted to. None of you have ever really been away from music over this time. You've still been making music, but just having that 30-year perspective, what would you say is the biggest change in how you record music, how you tour music, how you play, how you perform in front of a live audience? What are some of the biggest changes you've noticed?
I'll let you go, Rick, on that one, or Dave.
I mean, honestly, there's not that much different. I mean, we kind of record the same way. The EP that we just did, essentially they were live tracks recorded together in a room, and we used, it's live studio tracks. I mean, there's overdubs for sure, but, Rudy did his vocals overdubbed and things like that. But, drums, bass, rhythm guitars, that's just us playing in the studio.
Yeah, that's 100% true. This recording, I think I didn't do, my rhythm track is just the one from the live take. I didn't do any overdubs of the rhythm tracks. Now, Rudy did some rhythm tracks because he likes the sound to be wide. So, it makes sense to do that. But in general, most of what you hear is us just playing live. So that's not any different really than 90s recording.
Yeah.
But we are, I think being the older you get a little more hypercritical. So we end up like going in and making sure we have the right, just the right parts and everything the way we want it to sound. I think when you're younger and you have no budget, you wanted to just plow through the recordings as fast as you could, right? It's like get content out there. Whereas now it's like we do want it to sound really good. We really want it, so we put a little effort in, I guess listening to the mixes and making sure that it's mixed the way we want it and that we have this guitar this way and that guitar that way. So, but in general, the recording process isn't that much different, I guess.
Playing live isn't too different either. Show up rehearsed and rip it. Nothing really has changed there.
We could drop a guitar. It could be up to you.
Right.
I could forget all the words. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's battle conditions.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
But I'd say part of that has to be just your confidence level too, right? Just having done it, like you said, just what your sound is. You've kind of marinated in it for a while, and so matured as musicians, and so that confidence level, and also maybe a little bit of a preference for a little bit of maybe a rawer sound on some of the albums. Would you say?
I think so. I think we've definitely are better musicians now too, so you get a little bit of that. The songs are maybe a little more intricate, but it's still just two guitars, bass and drums, and attitude when you boil it down to its essence.
Yeah, I think our live show definitely, like you said, like just the confidence is a big thing. We've been doing it for so long, so we show up and we're ready to go. So I think that helps with the live show for sure.
Yeah. So you guys have any plans for like a tour outside of the Chicago area coming up, or what are you doing in terms of live shows?
We have a record release show coming up June 20th at Livewire Lounge in Chicago. So that's that's right around the corner. But as far as touring goes, nothing planned. We all we all work full-time jobs. But I don't know. Rudy and I have kicked around a couple ideas. Maybe try to get out at some point. We'll just have to see. life gets in the way for sure.
Like last year, we played a bunch of festivals, so we were hoping to still jump on some of those, at least this summer or late summer, So, I mean, because I know Smoking Popes, a lot of those bands, they play a lot of festival shows, and so if we can get some outdoor stuff, I mean, like we played the Skokie Backlot Bash last year, and that was huge.
Yeah.
Tons of people were out for that, so I think that's a good setting for us too, because we can rock the small stage and the big stage. So
yeah. I mentioned Popes, another Chicago based band, of course, and I saw them recently. They were here in Northeast Ohio, so I saw them at a show. Again, another band that's just not missed a beat, in my opinion. They're just rocking.
They're great.
Right, they are great.
They did in the 90s. But are there other Chicagoans bands that you're looking forward to getting on the bill with as you consider like getting out and doing more live shows, maybe doing a tour? Is there a band that you might link up with, or that in your dreams you would maybe link up with for a tour?
In my dreams, I'm really digging Tuck Smith's band right now. I think he's got a great band. I think Woolworthy opening up for Tuck Smith would be incredible.
Yeah.
I think we'd have a great time. I think he would love the band. I love his band. He's not from Chicago, but if that was a dream band, Bill, to put together, I'd say that, Bill.
Yeah.
I think we'll all have a different opinion on that, but that would be mine.
Yeah. How about you guys, Rick, Dave? Who would you want to tour with?
Tough question.
Yeah, especially on the spot like that.
You're Rick's been in a bunch of different punk bands, so I'm sure there's some sort of classic punk band you'd love to jump on with.
I mean, like locally, bands that kind of from our era that are still around that I'd love to play with is like Sludgeworth, the Boll Weevils, bands like that. Man, who would I want to tour with?
I mean, it would be awesome to be on a big show too, something like a opening slot for, like an early slot at, some kind of Warped Tour type thing, right? Like, or even like like a Green Day type band or whatever. I mean, they're playing stadiums now, but our sound isn't that far off from theirs,
right?
Green Day would love us.
The melody, so.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Green Day what?
I was like, Green Day would love us if he heard us. If they heard us, they would love us.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
I mean, we opened for Sugar Cult back in the day. I mean, there's a lot of like pop punk type bands also that I think we fit in well with, obviously. So
Sugar Cult, Unwritten Law. Who else did we play with back in the day? Last summer we opened up for Super Drag,
who are great.
Yeah, we played with Plain White Tees at Metro.
Lucky Boys Confusion. I mean, there's a Lucky Boys, Plain White Tees. I mean, all those bands are still around. I mean, I'd love to do shows with them.
Yeah, and they're all good dudes too, which is make the show even more fun.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I'm going to put you on the spot again and just ask you, do you have a favorite Woolworthy track? I know it's hard to pick, but you have something that you like that you most like to play live, for example, your favorite live Woolworthy song. You already mentioned Moped, which is a huge favorite, but anything else?
There's, Rudy, there's just so many hits. I mean,
there's so many. There are so many hits, but for me right now, I'm just loving Hand Grenade.
Yeah, that's a great song.
I just love that, playing that song. Maybe because that was one of the first songs we learned as a band when we got back together, and like that song I think is really special. But that'll change. By tomorrow I'll have a different idea because there are so many hits. But I don't know. What do you guys? What's your favorite? I don't think I've ever heard these guys' favorites, so I would love to hear what their favorites are.
For playing live, I would say my favorite song to play live is Under and Over, just because it's aggressive and it's rowdy. And I don't know. I think like we bring that song live every time, so that's a great one. I don't know, Dave. What do you think?
I mean, Leap year is always good because the chorus is, when do you want to go? And everyone yells go. So it gets the crowd participating.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. When we did our reunion show in 2023, there's definitely footage of everybody yelling go at the same time. So that's cool. I don't know. I mean, I really like Pretty With Me because we did a video for that back in the day. And, the video footage was taken where we legitimately played a house party and then burned the entire living room furniture in the front yard, and then the cops came. So it was like real. It was like whatever happened was actually happening. It was like a college party, and
The frat house,
kegger,
yeah.
and it was a kegger, and it was out of control. And we ended up we borrowed a PA from the school that we broke into. Someone broke into the school to get the PA. Yeah.
We borrowed it. Yes, that's
and then we
all we could say.
in his house and played, and our friend was recording it. And then at the end of the night, everyone took the furniture outside and lit it on fire, and then the cops came. So whenever we play Pretty With Me, I think of that. I kind of think like that's that was a really fun time when we did that. So yeah, Pretty With Me is a really good live one too.
Yeah, I love the call and response thing. I feel like that concerts just anymore, like you have to do a lot of that crowd play stuff. Like there's so many opportunities for it, and fans are just eager to join into and do the call and response and everything. I think that's awesome. I wonder as you see some of these theatrics happening on stage with some of these bands, maybe what you guys do with this next tour is actually bring out some furniture and set it on fire, like call back kind of thing, like just when you're playing that song, just burn.
Well, Rudy actually lit. He actually accidentally lit the American flag on fire. So
that's completely true.
Don't tell anybody.
Did you ever see this? Like the Puerto Rican flag accidentally gets burned by Kramer. It's kind of like that, But.
It was a complete accident because I would never burn an American flag on purpose. But
it was when you could smoke in bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like a fire one up on stage.
And it was 4th of July.
Right.
4th of July, remember? Oh, no.
In front of it was probably at the VFW hall, too.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It was in Quincy, Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a oops. No, but then when I had to dye it out, I threw the flag on the floor and started stomping on it to dye out the flame.
Yeah.
And I don't think the crowd took likely to that either.
No.
But I remember just saying, "I'm sorry, this was an accident, everyone." And then we just started playing to get everyone's minds back to
The point
us.
is, stuff has been burned on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say, go all out. Bring that back.
Maybe that's our shtick.
That's your thing.
Fire.
You guys have great stories, and the way you talk about it and reminisce and everything, it's clear you've got this just terrific, rich friendship and brotherhood, and I think that's remarkable. I think it's great that you guys have gotten back together and you're producing some fantastic music. Is it June 20th that we can expect to get the rest of those songs?
June 17th, the EP will be out. For you, I'll send it to you early.
All right.
But yeah, and then the show, the EP release show is June 20th at Livewire Lounge in Chicago.
Viva Los Woolworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate you having us on.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, love it.
Totally. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm Rudy.
Rick.
I'm Dave.
And we're
Woolworthy. From Chicago, and our Every.Thing.After is our new EP, Fall With You, out June 17th.
Record release show, June 20th, Livewire Lounge, Chicago.
Dave, you got anything?
Chicago rock and roll.